Great souls do not live for any selfish interest. Even if Maharaj Parikshit had no worldly attachment, how could he give up his body, which was the shelter for all others? See, every sentence is full of meaning, so much meaning. So I'll try to explain some words from what I read till now. See, the first lesson we learned from this paragraph, what we learned now. We have a board here. Somebody can write. I think they have written something. Now, life is not worth living if our body, mind and words are not used for offering shelter to others. Life is not worth living if our body, mind and words are not used for offering shelter to others. That's the first lesson. There are many sub-lessons in this, what we read just now. See, the Shaunaka Rishis are asking, Maharaj Parikshit was a first-class devotee of the Lord and he was the emperor of the whole world also. Then why should he give up everything to sit down on the bank of Ganga and fast until death? They are asking. Which means, if somebody is a devotee of the Lord, it is immaterial in which position you are in. Whether you are an emperor of the world or you are a brahmachari. That one sage who gave the curse to a brahmachari, he said, no, you die because you are doing so much austerity, you die, he said. But for a devotee, what he said? Jivava marava, he said. Either live or die, you are always, you are living for the welfare of others. So, if a devotee is a king of the world, or he may be playing whatever role he may be playing, here they are saying, you are a first-class devotee of the Lord, and you are emperor of the world, then why should you give up everything to sit down on the bank of Ganga and fast until death? And not only that, Parikshit also had full of youth and strength. So, which means, many people in society ask this question, that why you people leave everything and go, So, we can leave everything in society and become brahmachari only if you are going to do something more valuable than what we will be doing by not joining in the ashram, if somebody is joining. Something more valuable, worthy we have to offer to society. Otherwise our joining has no meaning at all in the ashram. Is it not true? Because the goal is welfare of the public, for the king. If a king, why should he give up everything and sit on the bank of Ganga? You will find many people who accept leadership, if they accepted leadership with attachment, they will also be very eager to renounce that leadership after some time, due to the problems that are posed on that person. So the leadership should be accepted without attachment. When Nijanand Bhaktacharya Maharaj came to Chopati, he was telling, Raghunath Swami was sitting by his side. So Bhaktacharya Swami was telling, Raghunath Swami doesn't want to be a leader. That is why I say that he should be a leader. He was telling. He is not interested in being a leader. But if you call him a leader, okay, he will accept leadership, not for, taking advantage of the privileges that will come with leadership. Whereas he will accept leadership for rendering service to others. So he was saying like that. So actually a devotee of the Lord is not interested in accepting leadership or rejecting leadership. He is willing to do whatever will help him to serve better. Like if somebody is given some leadership position, that gives you a opportunity for possessing some power. So one should be able to have a healthy possession of power. What is healthy possession of power? With that power, whatever comes, use in Krishna's service. Like for example, power means you are given money to use. You are given some people who will obey you. And you are given some assets which will be put under your custody for use. So if you are a leader, you can use all these things. But how should we use them? and ultimately glorification of Krishna. So a person who is given an opportunity for leadership need not reject it and go to the bank of Ganga and sitting alone and doing his own bhajan. Then he would be considered a selfish person. Like when Prabhupada was in Mayapur, Tamaksha Maharaj and many others had come, thousands of Vaishnavas had come. And Prabhupada said, how wonderful it is to see all the Vaishnavas together in Mayapur Dham. And Prabhupada said, let us all stay in Mayapur Dham for our entire life. Hari Bol, everyone shouted. And then Prabhupada was very happy. And then Prabhupada said, but who will then preach in your respective places? And they were all looking at each other. Nobody had a clue. And Prabhupada said, because we have to preach and make more devotees. So you all go back to your places. He said, So sometimes people think of Nirjan Bhajan or chanting Mani Rounds and taking care of oneself. We all will have experience. When we do a lot of management, we sometimes have experience of a burnout. At that time one thinks, now let me escape and hide somewhere and do bhajan. Correct, no? And then suddenly you become a temporary Pramams at some period of time. And then after you chant more rounds and read more, suddenly you feel a sense of guilt. Hey, and then you ask devotees, is everything going all right? And then they will say, oh, Prabhuji, everything is falling apart. You didn't pay attention to this. And then you think, okay, now I think I have to go and manage now. Then you may come back to manage. Then again you manage, do a lot of manage, then you get again burnt out. Again go back. So we are like a pendulum, like a pendulum. So here they are asking, King Parikshit was king of the world, he was a pure devotee of the Lord. Then why should he give up such a nice position and he can have a healthy sense of power? And he can, actually he's a devotee king. A devotee king has no problem. He will never misuse Krishna's property. Whatever Krishna has given, he will use it in Krishna's service. A devotee king like Ambarish Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Swayambhava Manu. Swayambhava Manu was such a king, he was loved by his citizens as if they were his own children. After giving Devahuti in marriage to Kardama Muni in the forest, when Swayambhava Manu returned, all the citizens were arrayed on either side of the road and they were showering flowers and they welcomed the king and they were so happy. So Prabhupada says that the Swayambhava Manu knew how to enjoy life through Krishna. How to enjoy life only through Krishna and not enjoy life independent of Krishna. Modern day society teaches people how to enjoy life separate from Krishna and hurt oneself, damage oneself. But Vedic life also teaches one can live a very happy life in this world. A king with queens and sons and daughters and grandsons and servants and elephants and horses and khajana, with all these things. When one uses everything in Krishna's service, and one is not trying to lead the path of religion. Once when Narada Muni came to Indraprasth, he met Yudhishthira Maharaj. He asked him, my dear king, how is your life going on? Are you focusing on profit in your life at the cost of religion? Or are you focusing on religion at the cost of your profits? Or are you foregoing both profit and religion for the sake of enjoying the pleasures which will make one glide down to hell? He asked him these three questions. So actually profit and religion means what? Dharma and artha. Are you focusing on dharma so much that you are doing so many yajnas that rogues and thieves are looting the public and mishandling women and destroying the society and troubling society, and you are simply doing yajna all the time? Or you are all the time running here, running there, managing the public, controlling rogues and thieves, going for hunting, expanding your kingdom, increasing the size of your khajana, treasury, that you say you have no time for yajna. So which one are you doing? Or somebody has given up yajna also, somebody has given up protecting citizens also, and is going to enjoy the pleasures like drinking, smoking and women, wine. Are you indulging in that? Which is a sure short way to prepare a path to hell. What are you doing? He asked him. So this is very useful, this question which was asked by Narada to Yudhishthira Maharaj. In our life, we have to strictly follow the four regulative principles as a leader. A leader should never break the regulative principles, because actually average subordinate breaking the principles is different from a leader breaking principles. Prabhupada said a leader should be posted based on his character. If a leader has no character, he is no leader. He is unfit for leadership. And if a leader is having the proper character, then he will be able to guide others also. So that is why one should forego the petty pleasures of this world. Forget them, throw them far away. Then coming to religion and profit, dharma and artha, one has to balance nicely. Like one has to perform his religious duties. Like all of you, you will see as managers, you have a double duty. One is you have to take care of your own sadhana and enrich your spiritual consciousness. When your consciousness is rich, you can do better service for others. But if our consciousness is not rich, we ourselves will be in doldrum. We cannot actually be able to, manage our own life. Then how will we manage others? And then one can work on profits. That is why we have the slogan, put the horse before the cart. Put the horse before the cart means what? The cart is dead, horse is alive. So horse represents spiritual life and cart represents management. So Prabhupada said, preaching first, management next. Or you can say sadhana first, management next. You can say. Or you can say sadhana and preaching first and management next. You can say like that. So if sadhana, this is the order. Sadhana, then preaching, then management. And the management also should be preaching related management. Not just sorting out quarrels between devotees. Quarrels come because people are not engaged properly. If people are engaged properly, there is hardly any quarrel. There is no time for quarreling. I want to quarrel with you, but you are busy, I am busy. We fix an appointment. Tomorrow evening we will quarrel. Tomorrow evening both are running for program. Isn't it? So, sadhana and preaching first and then management next. So, sadhana and preaching is like the lively horse. And management is like dead. So Prabhupada said, management will follow like a shadow if you do sadhana and preaching well, automatically. Does that mean that a devotee does not manage at all? A devotee just does sadhana and preaching? That is the reason we spent one full class to show you in the first class how even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did management. By organizing the circles of Vaishnavas, who will be leader of the team to dance and all that. So, as devotees, management is meaningful if the management expands Sankirtan movement. Then the management is meaningful. Otherwise, it is simply like beating an empty husk. So, that is why they were asking Shaunaka Rishi, Parikshit is a devotee king and he knows the right use of money. He knows the right use of people, the right use of resources. And having that capability, why should he renounce that position of a king? Because such a devotee king is a great asset to society. Such a king is like mother, father, bandhu, everything for the praja. Such a king. See, the rishis and munis and one's father and such kings, they were all treated like God in those days, because they were completely transparent. Transparent means what? Through them one could see God. Through the king you can see Krishna. Through the father you can see Krishna. Through the guru you can see Krishna. Through them. They completely acted like a transparent glass. That means of giving shelter. Giving shelter means whose shelter? Krishna's shelter, not our shelter. You don't tell people that, here is my lotus feet, please bow down. That's not the shelter. That is how Vena was speaking. Vena was telling the Brahmanas, hey, you guys are worshipping demigods, you all are like unchaste wives, he said. Because you have left my worship and you are worshipping the demigods. Then he said, don't you know, in the body of the king all the demigods reside? And the king is called Naradev. He is a representative of the Supreme Personal Godhead, which means he is God only, he was telling. So he was misinterpreting the philosophy. Yes, it is true. King is a representative of God, but he is not God. Hmm? And he told all the Brahmanas, you leave the worship of everyone else and worship me. And then he was offending Lord Vishnu also. So Brahmanas became very angry. Huh? They said, my dear king, because you stopped all the yajna all over the country, there is no rains, there are no grains, and there are no cows offering milk. Everywhere there is scarcity. Stop all this religiosity, my dear king. In fact, they were extremely angry. But controlling their anger, they tried to speak as sweetly as possible. Any of you have tried it in your life? You are angry with somebody, but you speak sweetly because you know that person is needed for you. So controlling their anger, they spoke, my dear king, like that they speak. This fellow was such a fool. Even after such preaching, this fellow, he didn't understand it all. He said, if any Brahmana doesn't obey me, I will finish him. Then the Brahmanas, like that they said. One hookar, when I was finished immediately. So this is an example of a ruffian king, or somebody who misrepresents God. Vena. But opposite to that is Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit is first class king. It's a devotee king, who doesn't misuse manpower resource, assets resource, money resource, nothing. He knows how to use. You see, duplicity means accepting that, can you please give a donation for Krishna service, and then taking the donation and using it for one's own sake. That is called duplicity. In those days, one brahmachari in one temple, I will not tell you the name, he used to go in a car. Of course, he used to go single in a car. He used to go alone only for the college preaching program somewhere. So in that temple they would arrange cookies and peda and all that for the program. So while driving the car, he would eat one peda, keep putting in the mouth. So by the time he would reach the program, only cookies will remain. So for the students he will give cookies. For him he would finish peda. 10, 12 pedas he would finish. One pedas for each boy. So the senior devotee who was giving the pedas and cookies, one day when the boys came to temple, he asked, so you all like our temple peda? Boy said, what is peda? We have not seen. What is the spelling of peda? They were asking. We have never seen a peda. So I sent it to this brahmachari. Then he came to know this fellow used to carry it for the program, but he would finish it himself, everything. So this is called duplicity. Duplicity means what? Saying that I want for Krishna service and then using it for one's own purpose. Duplicity. So we are taking many resources. We are accepting a car from somebody. We are accepting a laptop from somebody. We are accepting mobiles. We are accepting flash players. So this can never be misused by a leader. Somebody who is a leader. Imagine, for example, somebody takes it for Krishna service and he puts some dirty photos in the mobile, dirty photos in the laptop. It's a crime actually. It's a very punishable crime. So a king should never misuse Krishna's property. And Parikshit was such a king, wonderful king, first class devotee king. That is why the sages were very worried. If a king is a good king, all the praja is benefiting from him and is a pure representative of Krishna, and all the resources in the country are finely managed by the king in Krishna service for the welfare of everyone, and with Krishna in the center. Such a king's rule will be most wanted by everybody. This can be applied to all of our lives. Every one of us, we are managing some project, we are accepting some leadership. So we have to completely be transparent. We should know that my role is an intermediate role between Krishna and the jivas. We have to take from Krishna and give it to jivas. And then we have to, the parampara is called as ascending service, descending mercy, isn't it? Ascending service, descending mercy. So the service is given by the jivas, which should ascend through you, and then you give it to the parampara, it goes up, and then the mercy of Krishna comes, you give it back, and we just act as a very beautiful, transparent via media in between, without, in one temple, this Dhanurdhar Maharaj, you all know Dhanurdhar Maharaj, very famous Maharaja. This Maharaj, in Vrindavan. He lives in Govardhan. So one day he went to a temple. In Vrindavan he was going from temple to temple with one wealthy man, just to take him for a round, all the 7 temples of Vrindavan. So they went to one temple. In each temple, Maharaj would put 10 rupees, and this wealthy man, he will put 10 rupees. So they put 20 rupees in the Aarti plate. So they had understood that both of us want to give 10 rupees in the Aarti plate. They were giving. So one temple came, and Maharaj opened his purse and took out. He got only a 20 rupee note. Then he put the 20 rupee note in the Aarti plate, and the Pujari was extending his arms with the Aarati. And that wealthy man who went with Maharaj, he also took out a 10 rupee note. And Maharaj told him that, you don't have to put, I have put for you also, because I have put 20 already for both of us. But the Pujari said, you see, when a jiva wants to render service to Krishna, we should not come in between. This is his service to the deity. And as a Pujari, I want to be transparent. And you also should be transparent. If a jiva gets even little desire to serve Krishna, we should never come in the way. He told him. And Maharaj was stunned hearing this. What a great philosophy it is. Isn't it? Similarly, so many jivatmas, they put faith in us, thinking that here is a Vaishnava wearing tilak, kantimala, wearing Vaishnava dress. Through us, they see our Guru. They see the parampara. They see Krishna by saying leader. We are never alone. We are backed up with the whole parampara behind us, right on the top of our head. All the parampara, all the Goswamis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and ultimately divine couple Radha Krishna, they are there. When we think I am alone, I am independent, we will behave like a fool. When we know that the whole parampara leading up to Krishna, Radha Krishna are there, now we will know that we have to behave properly. So Maharaj said, I learnt a good lesson in my life by hearing this wonderful philosophy from this Pujari, who taught me, don't come between the jiva's desire to serve Krishna and Krishna. You don't come in between. You are only allowed to come in between if you are going to just transfer it. Then you can come in between. Otherwise, don't block the services of the jiva to Krishna. And when will we block the service? When we put ourselves in the center and we keep Krishna aside. Then we block the service. Because that's what Vena did, which we should not do. So Parikshit Maharaj was a first-class devotee king. Such a wonderful king. And they were saying that he was a king, like they are saying, first-class devotee of the Lord. He was the emperor of the entire world. Why did he give up everything to sit down on the bank of the Ganga and fast until death? See, there is a desire in all great devotees that at one point of time I want to wind up my management and surrender to Krishna completely, fully. When will the time come when I can constantly, chant Krishna's names, study about Krishna, remember Krishna, speak about Krishna directly, than to manage the worldly affairs? This kind of desire is not a wrong desire. In fact, this kind of desire is a very anukul desire as long as you don't give up the management. Very favorable desire. So, and then we keep on desiring like this, and that is a very conducive desire for a healthy management. So, just like Grihasthas are taught that you should have a spirit of detachment within your heart. And Brahmacharis and Sannyasis should have a spirit of detachment externally also. Externally also they should be detached. But Grihasthas should be internally detached, that is said. Similarly, the manager can maintain their spirit internally in his heart. When will the time come and I will be able to fully engage in Krishna's service? That kind of thinking is all right. Just like this Swayambhava Manu, when he wanted to give up the management of the world, what happened? Uttanapad, next to Uttanapad there was Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj went back to Godhead. And in the subsequent, one Dhruva Maharaj's son, Utkala, I think, he became pure devotee also. And then one another son took up some management, and after that there was no issues after that, no children in the dynasty. So Swayambhava became afraid. In my old age, how can I be managing the affairs of the universe? And then at last he got Priyavrat Maharaj, back to management. He got him. And then when he put Priyavrat Maharaj, it is said Vishaya Vishama Jalashaya. It says Vishaya Vishama means the management of the material world was like a big stock of poison for the king, but he handed over the poison to the Priyavrat king, and then he completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is said. And why is it considered poison? Not that, oh, management is difficult for me, it takes so much of my energy and time. Not because of that. Many times in management we have to find faults with people. We assess Vaishnavas, which is a very dangerous thing to do. We think, hey, he's a good Vaishnava, he's a bad Vaishnava, he's a lazy bum Vaishnava, We think like that. He's a lazy bum, he's enthusiastic, he is slow, he is fast, he is smart, he is dull. So can we put him in this service, that service? These are all very dangerous to talk about devotees. Unless we are free from envy, unless we are free from ridicule, unless our heart is constantly considering the welfare of devotees, we are not very fit to be managers. Because if somebody in the top as a manager, delights in finding fault with people, if we get happiness in that, and then we think management is wonderful because I can know the problems of people. Such management is considered a poison, considered a terrible poison, because such a person cannot make spiritual progress properly. It can come in the way of his spiritual progress. That is why the king also, you see, Parikshit Maharaj is taking out the sword and he is about to cut off the head of Kali. Correct? Kaliraj. See, one has to take such action. Prithu Maharaj, he is chasing after earth in the form of a cow. He's telling to earth that I'll kill you because you are not giving out all the necessary, necessities of the living beings. Which means king has to play that type of role of disciplining the wrongdoers. On the other hand, the king also has to perform his yajna, dana, tapa, all the religious activities also. So sometimes a king, uninformed king, may commit mistakes. He may punish somebody who doesn't deserve punishment. He may reward somebody who doesn't deserve a reward. So it's a very difficult job. So if one is a first-class devotee king like Parikshit Maharaj, then he will be guided by the Brahmanas. Vipra Dharma Achyuta Ashraya. Says he is sheltered by Brahmanas, by Dharma and Krishna. So because he is nicely sheltered, he will get guidance at every moment. If one is properly sheltered. So, like we say, Hari Guru Vaishnav, Ashray. If you are taken shelter of Krishna, shelter of Guru, shelter of Vaishnavas, shelter of Vaishnava Dharma, so then one is very safe. So, if a king is in that position, the whole world will want that king for all time. Who will want to, leave such a king? So that's why they are asking, why did he give up everything to sit down at the bank of Ganga and fast until death? He was full of youth and strength. And his enemies used to come. One time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, as a very confidential personal associate of Prabhupada, he went to Prabhupada, and was telling Prabhupada, Prabhupada, some of your elderly disciples are asking whether they could come to Mayapur and settle in the dham instead of living in the cities. Currently they are preaching in cities, but slowly they want to retire and come to Mayapur and stay here. So they were asking me to ask you. And Prabhupada said, one should travel all around the world and preach and propagate Krishna consciousness to people of different countries in different places and gain different spiritual realizations by giving Krishna consciousness. By hearing, by chanting, by distributing, by preaching, one should do that for a long period of time. And then Prabhupada said, and then when one gets very old, then one can come to Dham and stay in the Dham and simply, in the old age your body will be naturally invalid and everything. Just chant Hare Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead, Prabhupada said. And then he said, as far as I am concerned, I don't think I am old. Prabhupada said. So when Tamal Krishna Maharaj heard it, he said, then we all thought what is big of us? If Prabhupada thinks he is not old enough. So basically Prabhupada said that he preach lifelong. Go on. Preaching and expanding. Don't think, you have to go for some Nirjan Bhajan. That is why Shaunaka Rishis are asking, why should this king Parikshit leave his kingdom and go. He's not committing any mistake. He's not committing any blunder. No, nobody wants to get rid of him or something. Like Brahmanas wanted to get rid of Vena. And why should he leave and go? Because after all, now they are saying, see what they are saying. Even enemies used to come and bow down at his feet and surrender their wealth unto him for their own benefit. What is their own benefit? Somebody can say? How would somebody surrender wealth to somebody for one's own benefit? If you are giving wealth to somebody, it is for that person's benefit, no? How can you get benefit by giving wealth to somebody? Yeah, Deeprakash bro. No, for example, if the smaller kings come and give money to Parikshit Maharaj, who is the king of the world, how do they benefit? For their own benefit, they were giving all their wealth to the king, he is saying.
Like one is by performing dharma, because Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee, so he will perform dharma more
with that money. Yeah. So naturally they also benefit. Very correct. Like if you give charity to a Brahmana, it comes to you 1,000 times back. Prabhupada says, no? Similarly, if a king is a pure devotee king and you are giving tax to him, or you are whatever you give him, that comes back to you in multiple amounts. So you also benefit by that, undoubtedly, by giving to a king like Parikshit. Yeah. Why did he want to give up everything, including his very life? Great souls do not live for any selfish interest. Which means, such a king, if he leaves the kingdom and goes to Ganga, banks, and simply is thinking, I will throw away my responsibilities, now I can be a free bird, chanting and dancing myself, and I will enjoy my spiritual life. That would be considered sense gratification. That's what they said. Great souls, they don't do that. They fulfill the responsibilities. He is a king, he is doing well, and how can, like in a home, parents say, sometimes a boy, he's got engineering degree, but he's sitting at home, watching TV, watching movie, playing cricket, not even endeavoring to get a job. And parents will tolerate him for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and after that they will say, hey, you are just eating and sleeping. Go and get a job. Sometimes their friends will tell them, get him married, you'll get a job or something. You have seen that? Because you will become more responsible. Because 3 people will make a man responsible. Anybody knows? Wife, mother and sister. Will make sure you will be responsible. Otherwise, sometimes the boy comes and stays in Muralidhar for 6 months, he is not getting job. Isn't it? So, if you have got a nice degree, you should be doing a job, you should be responsible. You should be fulfilling your duties to your family. Similarly, a king who is ruling, suddenly if he just throws away the management and is going and sitting at the banks of the Ganges for his own interest, that will be considered what? Selfish. That's what they are saying. Great souls do not live for any selfish interest. Even if Maharaj Parikshit had no worldly attachment, how could he give up his body, which was a shelter for all others? They are asking. Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, anybody knows? That even if you have no attachment to the world, you become a Parinishta Bhakta, then still one should do work for what purpose? For setting an example. Whose example he gives? And one more example he gives? His own example. Isn't it? Karmana vibahi samsiddhim astito janakadayah loka sangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. And then he says one more, his example, what he says? No. Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptama vaptavyam varta evacha karmani. He is telling, Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. In all the 3 worlds, my dear Arjuna, I have no duty to do. I am a free bird, but you look at me, I am also a Dwarkadish. I am a king and I am doing my kingly duties. So everyone has to do that duty. So he is saying that to set an example. So Janaka Maharaj is giving example. Similarly, they are saying, even if Parikshit had no worldly attachment, he need not, quit the post of the king and go to jungle, like that. Huh? Like for example, we should not be artificially humble also. Huh? For example, say you are living in a voice, they want to make you a overseer, give you some responsibility. You say, no, Prabhuji, I am fallen soul, I am fallen soul. Actually, you may have very good talent to do something. So they want to offer you a position by which you can enter some service. So for the sake of rendering service to Vaishnavas, we can accept a post. But we should not accept post for lauding over people or bossing over people or boasting about oneself or for name and fame. For that we should not accept post. But sometimes a very shy devotee who is highly talented, he just keeps quiet. He doesn't go to the, if the right people observe him at the right time, they may offer him a very nice service. So, yes, if somebody is offering a post, what is the right method of accepting it? Anybody can say? So you are being offered a post. Prabhu, can you take up the project manager post? What is the right method of accepting it? If they are asking you, Prabhu, now you think you are sufficiently talented to take up this PM post? What do you think? They are asking. Yes?
Saying that I will be able to serve more better in this manner and accept it.
But if you think I will be able to serve better by accepting this post, you may offer me, I will try it, I will do it. Okay, very good. Any other answer? One more answer, yeah?
So in this way,
Very good. You say again?
like, I'm not qualified.
My mic is on or off?
I'm not anyway qualified to be offered this post, but by mercy of Guru and Krishna, I'm getting this because there is nobody else to take this position at this same time, and the posts, the qualifications are required are very much higher than what I'm having. But this is only mercy of Guru to serve the Vaishnavas.
First class, very intelligent. All of you remember what to speak when you are given some position. It's very, very beautiful, very thoughtful speech. Only thing is we should be prepared before telling. You should seek some time. Please give me some time. I'm going to say now. I'll tell you. So this is the right mood in accepting the position. See, I travel to different voices. One boy came to me. And I looked here and there, no one was there. Prabhuji, can you please make me OC? So, I also looked here and there. And I told him, OC never wants to be OC. They are asking me like this, And then he was catching my hands and please, Prabhuji. And I said, you see, I am not the responsible person here. You have your PM and all those people, they are going to choose. No, Prabhuji, finally you will only approve. I said, you should not be like this. We should never aspire for any post or position. But if it is given, we will accept it for service. That is the right mood. Simply for the sake of seva, service. So, okay, even if I have no attachment to the post, I can still accept the post. In fact, the ideal platform is that we should not be attached to post. And such a person only is qualified to accept the post. Is it not true? Imagine somebody, like in parliament, sometimes you see people are pulling a person down and they're sitting in the chair. How crazy people they are. They are so attached to their seats. Such people, do you think they can do any good to the society? So, everyone is thinking, if I can stand in the election and occupy a post, I will fill up my pocket as much as I can before I get down. So that after I get down from the post, again I can use that money for canvassing an election, and again I can occupy the post and fill up my pockets more. So, a devotee who is given some kind of seva, actually speaking, one should not be very eager for accepting a role where one will get a lot of adoration, worship and fame and name. One should fear it. Like this Jananivas Prabhu, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was talking about him in Vyas Puja. Once me and Radha Gopinath Prabhu were in Mayapur Dham, and many other students were also there, some students. And somebody came and gave a lotus flower, big lotus flower in the hand of Jananivas Prabhu. Jananivas Prabhu smelled it and said, "Is it from the hands of Champaklata?" he asked. And the Pujar said, "Yes, Prabhuji," he said, and he went away. And Maharaj was surprised. and Raghunath Maharaj was standing by the side. So he was glorifying Jananivas Prabhu. Later on, in water form, there was a Vyas Puja celebration for Jananivas Prabhu. In that, Maharaj said, you see this Jananivas Prabhu, Amanina Manadena. He said, he doesn't hanker for any name or fame, post or position, honor or prestige. 30 years he never left Mayapur Dham. He just stayed there on the order of Prabhupada, simply serving the deities. Although there were people who came with guns to shoot, although Muslims were invading, so many troubles were there. They have seen through all the ups and downs of Mayapur Dham, but he never left. Maharaj was glorifying. And then Maharaj said, he has no, hankering or aspiration in life. He is simply satisfied to be in the background, smelling the flower from the hand of Champaklata. Maharaj said in that meeting. Maharaj remembered that, which happened long before. And then Maharaj said, but you put him in the front, he will attract the whole world, he said. This is the meaning of a devotee. It's a very deep sentence. You put him, you put such a devotee who doesn't want any post or position, he just wants to serve. You put him in the front, he will attract the whole world. He will do miracles. He will do great things. That means great leaders are great servants. Only they can be great leaders. Otherwise, those who want to be leaders, they can't be leaders. So, that is why they are saying, even if Maharaj Parikshit had no worldly attachment, okay, we all agree that he was a great soul, he had no worldly attachment, but why should he give up the position? Why should he even give up his body? That is even more. Because his body was the shelter for all others, they are saying. How Parikshit's body was a shelter for all others? Because he was the Naradev, he was the king. The citizens looked upon him like a father. And he certainly must have been protecting the women, the children, the old people, the cows and the brahmanas. They all must have flourished. And whenever Parikshit Maharaj would go in the streets in his chariot, people would come and glorify him. Hey Parikshit, what can we tell about your good fortune? Your grandfathers were such pure devotees. Saratya parashada sevana sakhya dautya Virasananugamaнаstavana pranamat Smigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatuncha Vishnu Bhaktim karoti nripatischaranaravinde. Citizens came and told him, Parikshit, your grandfathers like Yudhishthira and Arjuna and all, Krishna loved them so intensely, he became a messenger for them, Shanti Dut. He became a Virasana for them. Virasana means carrying a bow and arrow in his hand. Krishna would be going round and round protecting Pandavas, like that. And Krishna became their friend. He dined with them, he played with them, he spoke with them, he treated them like a cousin. And you are coming in that lineage, you are so fortunate to be devotee. Many citizens would come and glorify him, like that. And Parikshit was very most loved by everyone. Now they are asking, such a shelter, Shanaka Rishis are asking, shelter for all people. It is so sad to hear that he not only left his kingship, but he also left his body. He died in 7 days. Why it happened like that? They are not aware why it happened. Now explanations will come later. What is the first lesson we learn? Life is not worth living if our body, mind and words are not used for offering shelter, Krishna shelter to others. Offering Krishna shelter to others. Not one's own shelter. Yeah. The first lesson. And then it goes on. Now Suta Goswami starts speaking. He's saying, he's talking about the Vedavyasa's Badrikashram, near Badrikashram. And then now let us see what he says further. One day, after bathing in the river Saraswati at sunrise, Srila Vyasadeva sat down on the shore to meditate. Being a liberated soul, Vyasa could foresee the anomalies of the upcoming age of Kali, wherein everything deteriorates. He could understand that the faithless persons would become very dull-headed and restless due to the lack of goodness, and so he began to think deeply about what could be done for their welfare. Yeah. So the second lesson we are going to learn here. The sages contemplate on welfare of the public. Sages contemplate on the welfare of the public. The very word rishi means one who thinks of the welfare of others. Here, who is contemplating on the welfare of the public? Here, Vedavyas. Vedavyas is thinking that now the Kali Yuga is going to start. Manda Sumanda Madhayo, Manda Bhagyahi Upadruta, and all that is written. He knows. So you see, the sages means they think long term, not short term. They think of the shreyas of the living beings, not prayers, not some immediate welfare. They think of the long term welfare. I heard about Agastya Muni that he did three things which became the greatest welfare for the whole world. First thing Agastya did was, there was one Vindhya Parvat which was trying to compete with the Meru Parvat. So Vindhya started to grow, very big in size. So when Agastya Muni saw that, he became very concerned, because if Vindhya Parvat becomes very big, then India would be divided into two. Like now you see India is a peninsula, correct? Like we have this Himalayan mountains. So China and India are divided, correct? Now how much contact do people have with China? Hardly any contact, because once a big mountain comes, the country will become divided. Practically the civilizations will become separate. They will not be having any interaction at all. So what Agastya did, he decimated the Vindhya mountain and smashed it to remain shorter, so that it will not grow very big. So that is called as Agastya. Agastya means one who decimates the Vindhya mountain and keeps the mountain shorter. It's one meaning. In order to keep the glorious spiritual culture of India intact together. He did that. Secondly, Agastya also did one more thing. He worked hard to increase the number of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas in the society. Because prior to Agastya, he had come, our Parshuram, who killed 21 generations of Kshatriyas. Because they were all, Asat Kshatriyas. They deserve to be destroyed. All irreligious Kshatriyas. They were actually exploiters of the public. So Parshuram finished all of them. But then when all Kshatriyas were finished, the whole world was bereft of good kings. Because without a king, the whole world will be ruined. Because the society, people are compared to lambs, and the rogues and thieves are compared to jackals or lion. So just like the lion and jackals can pounce upon the lamb and tear them and eat them, similarly the rogues and thieves and irreligious people, terrorists, they can create a lot of trouble for the public. Like you see, terrorism is there, but it's not very frequent. You observed it? Correct? Occasionally we hear of a bomb blast in Bombay. Occasionally some bomb blast in German bakery or something like that. But how often you hear of bomb blast? Do you hear it every day? No. How about the terrorists under control? Because the policemen also not so less. They are also very smart in catching the terrorists. And naturally kings need such kind of thing. So kings are needed in a country to protect the innocent public. And so Agastya thought, let us make Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, because they are very much in shortage. The Brahmanas are compared to be the head of the society. You see, the head is such an important part of the body. Imagine, for example, your two eyes were here behind, and your one nose was on the leg. Can you imagine? If you have to take the food, first you have to take the food and show it to the eyes, and then eyes are saying, okay, this is the food I want to eat. Correct, rice and dal you have mixed now, you're showing me now. And then you show it to the nose and the leg, smell it, because the nose can smell and say whether it's old food or fresh food. Is it not true? I should see that it looks proper. Nose sees, and then you put in the mouth. So what God has done, He has kept all of them in one place only. As you take the food near, then with the eyes you can see also, can smell also, and put in the mouth also. See, it's a wonderful creation of God, isn't it? So the Brahmanas, it is said, the Brahmanas are supposed to be very shrewd people. They should be able to smell any burning sensation. I mean, for example, if food is being cooked, if something is burning in the kitchen, some people have a very sharp nose. How many of you have sharp nose? You can detect the burning smell in the kitchen. Really? We have good number of people having good smell sensation. Yeah. Similarly, Brahmanas should be able to smell the grievances of people in society. That is Brahmana. And the Brahmanas should have their eyes wide open, alert, unblinking eyes, which means, they should always see the truth, the Param Satyam, and never become blind to the truth, or never become bewildered in understanding the truth. Their eyes should always be on. And also, the Brahmanas also mean ears. Ears means listening. They should be empathic and willing to. So three things, these are all senses all in one head only, because the head is a Brahmana. Is it not true? See, smelling with the nose means smelling the crisis and problems in society. And eyes means knowledge. Ears means listening to the people, to know what are their needs. So needs and grievances are not same. So what people need, interest, concern is at normal times, but grievance and crisis are occasional. Understand, no? So nose is smelling the grievances and crisis, whereas because something is burning somewhere, you have to detect it. Whereas the ears should be, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Why? Because we can listen more. We speak less and listen more. That's the point actually. So that we can listen to the people's needs, interests and concerns. And Brahmanas are very expert. They knew it, how to do these things. And of course the brain, with which one can guide the society. So Prabhupada said once, sometimes you can see a man walking without a hand or a leg. It's not uncommon. But have you seen somebody running without a head? You cannot find. So a society without Brahmanas is impossible to run. And Prabhupada said, but in modern times is a headless society. Prabhupada said. So we need Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Prabhupada said there is enough Vaishyas and Shudras all over the world. Prabhupada said, I have come to America to revive the Brahmanas. Prabhupada said the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are needed. The Vaishyas means they have a lot of money. And Shudras means they can do some hard work, hard labor. But the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are very much needed. The advisors and administrators, the most needed, Prabhupada said. So, I was telling you. So Agastya, what he did? He created many Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, and he did a great welfare to the whole world, because these 2 classes are considered higher class. Or out of the 4, if you say the 3 are considered very important. Like 1 Brahmana, 9 Kshatriyas, 90 Vaishyas, 900 Shudras. Makes it how many total? 1000. This is the proportion actually. In ISKCON has a lot of Brahmanas, which means every one of those fellows are 1 out of 1000 fellows. Yeah, it's very rare actually. 1 Brahmana, 9 Kshatriyas, 90 Vaishyas, 900 Shudras. So, very rare actually. So, Agastya did that good work. And Agastya also saw there was one Vatapi and Ilavala and Vatapi. These 2 were brothers, but they were real rascals. Why? Because these 2 brothers, their goal of their life was to kill the rishis and munis. They wanted to reduce the Brahminical population. That was their goal. You see, recently, this Akshay Patra, you all know, they are distributing prasadam in the schools. Now the number of children may be 20 or 30 lakh all over India now. It's increasing now. 40 lakh now. So some politicians have raised the objection in the court, saying that these Akshay Patra people are Brahmanizing India because they are offering Krishna's prasadam. They have raised the objection now recently. And they are not giving anda, they are not giving egg and onion and garlic in the food. If they give onion and garlic, we can continue to remain asuras. They are saying. So they are opposing now. Of course, then the government asked ISKCON devotees, can you please give us with onion, garlic, and along with that one anda also you can supply? And ISKCON said, nothing doing. We will only give you sattvic prasadam. If you want this, we will give you, otherwise we are walking out. Government said, sorry, you continue, whatever you are doing. So ISKCON is continuing now. Because ISKCON, they are running it very beautifully all over India, different places, Radhakrishna Prabhu and others. So, why I am telling you, that generally the asuras like Ilvala and Vatapi, their goal is to kill the Brahmanas. And Agastya's goal is to make Brahmanas, more and more. When Agastya saw, I am trying to make Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, and these fellows are killing Brahmanas. And how they would kill, they had a special technique. They would call Brahmanas to feed in their home. Brahmanas would come, and they would cut this, goat and other things and cook. Now somebody may ask, how can Brahmanas eat goats and all those things? How is it possible? In those days there were rishis, there were different type of rishis. Like we have tantric rishis, we have, is it not? Their lifestyle is different. Brahma rishis, there is Deva rishi. Narada is what rishi? Deva rishi, Now Vishwamitra is Raja rishi. He is from a king. Similarly, there were surely some classes of rishis who also ate meat. There were some of them, but they have the pachana shakti or ability to digest the sinful reactions that will come from eating that. So these fellows called rishis like that. What they did, the Vatapi would be taken by Ilvala, and Ilvala would, cut the Vatapi's body into multiple pieces and cook him, and then he would feed the rishis who would come. Agastya came one day being called by Ilvala. And then Ilvala fed. So they would go inside the body of the rishi. After entering the stomach, they would assume the full form and tear open the belly. Let them come out. And the sage would die on the spot. That they did with many people. And when Agastya came, he ate also. After he ate, Ilvala said, Vatapi, come out, he said. And then Agastya did like that. He said, Vatapi jirno bhavet. He said, so he digested Vatapi. So he must have had a very high digestion power. Powerful, no? So in this way, Agastya finished Vatapi also. He destroyed. Of course, modern day, if you have to destroy the Asura culture, for that we have to also, like Vedavyas, have to think long term. How can we, we should always think of, in those days in ISKCON, when they would go for preaching in colleges, some boy will come, Prabhuji, I also want to become brahmachari, what to do? First year only they will shave him up. You shave him up and bring him to temple, and your program in the college is closed down forever. They will put a notice, Hare Krishna, ISKCON people are coming here, nobody should go for the program, they will shave you up. So is it a very long-term plan? It's a very short-term plan. So short-term, you got only one devotee. You see? So one should always make a long-term plan. You want one Shevanite or 100 Shevanites? Isn't it? So you can get hundreds and hundreds of brahmacharis, boys who want to join, ISKCON and go all over the world and preach. But sometimes because of short-sightedness, people, lose the preaching opportunities. So I'm just giving an example. Like I was in one meeting of leaders. They told me to speak about youth preaching. I was speaking. So they were asking, ठीक है राधेश्याम जी, हम प्रचार शुरू करते हैं हमारे मंदिर में युवकों का, 1 साल में कितने लाइफ मेंबर बनेंगे? They asked me. I said, life member? No youth will become life member, I said. Okay, that is all right. At least tell me in 2 to 3 years, how many boys will become life member? They asked me. I said, nobody will become life member. Maybe some boys' parents may want to, but very rare. Then they said, then what is the use? They were saying of this preaching. So I told them, if you patiently preach for 5 years or 8 years, 10 years, you will get some 10-20 brahmacharis joining the ashram. Another 10-20 nice grihasthas in the congregation. One thing is, we should be, leaders should always think long-term benefit that we can get from, like children preaching and youth preaching is actually a enormous investment has to go in. Similarly, you are guiding the boys. Sages means contemplate on the welfare of the public. For us, who are the public? The people whom we serve. They are our public. If you are a leader, if you are accepting some leadership role, you should always think about these devotees. What about their physical well-being? Are they physically healthy? Like one time in Chopari temple, due to some problem in the water, practically about 40 devotees got a disease. What disease they got? malaria, typhoid, I think typhoid, and all the guys are admitted in the Bhaktivedanta hospital for some time, you know. So immediately they found out the cause, root cause, where this disease came from. Try to stop it. Similarly, we are bringing boys to stay in our voice. So they have, you know, many times when they are not in our voice, they are on their own. Parents are in touch with the parents. Boys are in touch with parents. But when they are coming and staying in the voice, they have to be taken care like children. We have to make sure that their physical health is good. If health is not good, then that will affect the mind also. If the mind is affected, the mind will affect the body also. Again, the body is affected, it will affect the mind. So it's a vicious cycle. Mind affects body, body affects mind. It goes round and round. So that is why we have Governor Raj Prabhu. He has come here and training our devotees on this thing, yoga, asana, pranayama, and everything. I'm thinking when the new temple comes, our terrace will be a huge terrace. We will get all our students. We have about 300-400 students in Pune. You know, we can get them all to learn yoga also. You know, right now he is training our brahmacharis. Later on we will have a program for our students. Because if you keep your body and mind healthy, then one can enter devotion service very nicely. So their physical well-being, their mental, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, all these things have to be worried, especially in the long term. Sometimes devotees will come and ask me, you know, Prabhuji, how to decide on this. Whenever any of you have to make decisions, first think of the welfare of that person, and then think of the welfare of the project. Like for example, somebody is telling Prabhuji, I am feeling feverish today. Now, should I go for follow-up or should I take rest? What should you say? But you ask him, say, okay, how much feverish are you feeling? What does that mean? You go do follow up and come back, then I will give you a paracetamol and then you can take a rest. Because once you follow up, then only boys will come. So sometimes we may be foolish in making decisions. So then later on, such people will think that these people are greedy fellows. They just want to use me for preaching. They used me. This is like a use and throw organization. They will think. They will think like that. So we don't have to preach by torturing our devotees. Sometimes, like in one of our centers, one leader was telling me, I asked him, show me study slots, Puji, please come next week, we'll show you, But right now I want to see, I said, Puji, boys are feeling a little shy to show you and all. I said, why shy, Let me see the study slots. I saw all was 0, 0, 0, Then I scolded the leader. Then he was, Prabhuji, I'm telling them to study, they are not studying their college subject, Prabhuji, he was telling. Then I asked him, what about preaching? How that is going on very well, Prabhuji. They are going for mantra meditation circle, distributing books, following up boys, facilitation, everything is going well. Then I told the leader, problem is your problem, not the boys' problem. Because you are giving emphasis only on preaching. You are not giving emphasis on studies. Because you are a greedy fellow. Because you just want to expand preaching and just get more and more people to become devotees. I told him, this is like what? There is a hen which gives golden eggs, So somebody thought, every day give one egg. If I cut the hen into two, then I can get 1,000,000 eggs in one shot. So when you cut the hen, what happened? The hen died. Similarly, we overuse devotees for preaching purpose. They get squeezed out. They get burnt out. They'll be very ungrateful to you. They'll be cursing you, yelling at you. They'll get poor marks also. Along with them, their parents also will yell at you later. You spoiled my son's career and everything. The only extra satisfaction you will have is some 2-3 extra boys would have come by that preaching. But then you have lost the inside people. So there is a concept of internal customers and external customers. Shamanpu once taught me many good things on this. He told me, those people who are your voice inmates, they are your internal customers. Those people whom you want to become devotees, they are outside, they are your external customers. Sometimes in the course of getting external customers, we crush the internal customers. Like how many of you experience of this? Be honest. Correct? Yeah. Sometimes we tell, but you don't understand, that boy, If only you did this, you would have got that boy, this boy, everything. And then this fellow is going, weeping. And then later on, to repair this fellow takes long time. It's like a bail gadi, you overwork a bail gadi, bail will sit down. And then to make the bail get up, my lord. Well, you have to get some special Mahaprasad. So, generally, we are very over-ambitious people. Actually, unless you are ambitious, you won't take up leadership, generally. So, you have some ambition. So, we tend to squeeze out the internal customers for getting more and more people. So, what Shawant was teaching, if you take very good care of internal customers, in the long run, they will get plenty of external customers for you. How does it happen? Maharaj used to say, his formula is, a happy devotee stays. This is his formula. And a frustrated devotee leaves. So, the question is, how to keep the devotees happy. Of course, if you pamper the devotees, that will lead to another type of problem. If you too much pamper the devotees by, pouring ghee like dal on the food, so much of ghee, chapati is dripping with ghee, or every day morning sweet, afternoon sweet, evening sweet, then they will become very plumpy and stout and they will nicely sleep during the day. They won't do any work. So too much pampering, see, making them happy doesn't mean, over pampering them. Making them happy means, you should have concern for their welfare as much as you are concerned for your brother or your sister or for your family members. How do you deal with your family? Like many of you ask yourself this question. Many of you may have a brother who still has a mustache, who still has some French beard, who is still wearing tight jeans and, he is still watching movie and not agreeing to chant one round also Hare Krishna, but still you love him very much. How many of your brothers like that? See, we have, is it not true? If we can love them so much, not to speak of our own devotees, fellows who have dedicated their life to joining the voice, they removed their moonch, removed their French beard, they are wearing kantimala, they are rising early in the morning, they are studying also, they are staying in the voice also, and preaching also, they are struggling hard. We should have some sympathy for them. So, if the internal customers have to be happy. See, quarrels are inevitable in the material world because we are not living in the spiritual world. But although there may be quarrels, time to time, Chanakya says one very nice principle. Ajayuddhe munishadhe prabhate megadambake, he says. He says that the megadambake means early morning sky has rumbling clouds, it makes sound, but there are no waters in that. Similarly, our quarrel should never bring forth tears. If you bring out tears from the devotee's eyes, it's very dangerous. We will get that curse. And also, Ajayuddha means two goats fight. Ha! You say, they immediately give up the fight. And they are walking together, smiling, they forgot that they are quarreling. Like that. Similarly, our fight should last only for a short while, he says. Even if there are some small misunderstandings, quarrel. And especially if leaders have to quarrel, they should go into a private room. You bolt the door, and instead of you can be sniffing. But if you are sniffing in the public, oh, I told you this, you don't understand. You never told me. I told you, you say. And the new boy will think, better I leave and go away somewhere else. You go away. Sometimes, we have a preaching coordinator, we have a overall coordinator, we have a internal manager, we have PM, and above that there is PA, and there is a counselor, and all the heads are revolving. So sometimes they have some decision, one likes the decision, another one doesn't like, and they are having difference in opinion. All differences in opinion should be sorted out behind the curtain. In the green room, not on the stage. That is why green room is kept, no? Green room is for changing your dress and everything, But imagine if you are doing drama, in the middle of the drama, if you do another drama on the stage, isn't it? All the people will laugh at you. So, the idea is we are living in material world, differences in opinions are inevitable. We are not pure devotees also, because of which our Rajaguna, Tamaguna will come up sometimes. It will come. When it comes, then we can say, I'm sorry, I behaved like this. Let us try to do better. Let us perform better. Ultimately, we should keep purpose, mission in the center. We cooperate for what purpose? For purpose pressure, Guru's pressure. We have to cooperate. Because we all have strong opinions about certain things. And if two strong people come together, like that sound comes. Isn't it? Somebody has to bend. So, then we have to think of the long-term welfare. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami teaches one very important principle. He says, when a superior and subordinate is relating with one another, superior gives an idea and the subordinate is not satisfied. Sometimes it is better for the subordinate to agree and go ahead. Because for him his relationship with superior is more important than to quarrel and prove his point. And the same can be applied even in equal relationships. In equal relationship, sometimes you have your opinion, somebody else has another opinion, both of you put it. If the another person's opinion is slightly inferior in quality than yours, what you can do? You better accept it and cooperate with him. Why? Because the relationship is sweetly maintained, the sweet relationship. Like he is saying, you are saying 100, he is saying 99. But you take another 4 hours to prove to him that it is 100. It's simply a waste of time. A lot of energy is expended and synergy is lost also. Synergy means 1 plus 1 is 11. That is called synergy. So, if two people oppose, then the whole thing falls flat. It's very bad. 1 plus 1 becomes 0 because it is 1 and minus 1. It becomes 0. So, and devotees have to think of the long-term welfare. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami teaches this long-term principle. What is it? Your success in spiritual life depends on the quality of your interactions with devotees. He says, I really work very hard to see these things. I can say I spent many years without bothering on this one point. It's a very important point. It's a very important point. If we want to be happy and we want to make others happy, our quality of interactions with Vaishnavas is very important while dealing with others, superiors, subordinates, equals, and all kinds of devotees. You should think, today I may pound on the table and prove a point, but next 3-4 years I have to live with this fellow. Is it not true? In the same center. And tomorrow if you want cooperation, will this fellow give me cooperation? Today if I have a big quarrel with him, and tomorrow I go to him for a favor, will he give? No. Actually we all need each other. We need them and they need us. Both people need each other. So we should be flexible and willing to bend. These kinds of things are needed, especially for long-term welfare. So we should consider, sages should think of the long-term welfare. One most important aspect of long-term welfare is to be very strict about the sadhana of our boys. Hearing and chanting is like life, pran itself. It's like pran, we can say. It's like the lifeline. If they don't hear, the patan and shravan is not good, everything will fall apart. Our inspiration in spiritual life, our enthusiasm in spiritual life, our dynamism solely depends on hearing and chanting. In fact, hearing and chanting is like an injection. Like a feverish person, you give him an injection, he gets completely well. Any of you, whenever you feel frustrated, open the Bhagavatam and read for 1 hour, your frustration will be evaporated. You will see that. Because the Bhagavatam is the medicine. So, we may become busy, we may make those fellows busy also. Like I told you the example of a leader who was making the boys preach but not do studies. We give equal weightage to college studies and Shravan Patan, in a spiritual book study or sadhana scores. We give equal weightage. So boys should do their prescribed duty very well, and they also should do their sadhana and sadhana of chanting and reading, hearing. If anybody says they have a problem, no, that's only a symptom. If you probe deeper, you will see they have problem in hearing and chanting. Some problem is there. They are not hearing properly. So when we talk of long-term welfare, this is one of the aspects of long-term welfare. Long-term welfare of the subordinates. If you are really concerned about their well-being, you have to make sure that they read, chant, hear sufficiently, and they are nourished in spiritual life. When that inspiration comes to surface, they will come running to you. Prabhuji, please give me some seva, and I want to render service. The understanding is good. They will be dynamic, they will be very enthusiastic, and they will have some realizations to share with others what they have been reading. But otherwise, you see a boy is not hearing, chanting properly. He looks very dull. He looks very tired. And you have to. He doesn't have sufficient inspiration to go out, and you will have to push him. See, all this pushing, driving, and all comes when there is no inspiration. And to bring about inspiration, we also should talk about Srila Prabhupada. We should talk about spiritual master, Prabhupada, and Acharyas. Their lives are very inspiring even for us. And what we got inspired, we can tell them also, and inspire them. And that this is also long-term welfare. Actually, long-term welfare of subordinates means our primary goal should be to make the inmates' invoice stable, spiritually, materially, physically, in all respects. They should be healthy and stable, nourished. Then they can go out and do some good. We should never use them for our selfish purpose of just making more and more devotees. Otherwise, what will happen? They will run, make devotees. It's like a pipe. You keep putting new devotees here, and the other devotees keep going out of this pipe here. And then you say, hey, till now we have put 100 inside, but now already 90 are outside. And then what remains? Only 10. It will be like that. So then who will stay? If the devotees become very stably situated, they will never leave Krishna's lotus feet. We have seen some boys leave Sankalp and all that, Spurti and all. But some boys, even after joining voice, they leave also. Some boys. They go back to their hostels. And some boys, after passing out from B, they leave. Yeah, like that. Some boys, after getting married or after coming to ashram, sometimes they leave. So people leave at different times. And every living person has a history, why he left. Probably the superiors, seniors didn't pay attention. And he didn't get attention, care, love, guidance, of devotees. Or he didn't get time to do Shravan Patan. That is very important. Here Vyasa is planning for the future of the Kali Yuga living entities, suffering souls. And he says here one more point. He could understand that the faithless persons would become very dull-headed and restless due to the lack of goodness. So he began to think deeply about what could be done for their welfare. So I told you the second lesson. What did I say? Sages contemplate on welfare of the public, and one more in the second itself. Passion and ignorance makes people dull-headed and restless. So ignorance makes them dull-headed, and passion makes them restless. So these are the two problems we face in chanting: sleeping and mind wandering, which comes from dullness and restlessness. Correct. So it's passion and ignorance. Tada rajastamo bhava kama loba bhayascha cheta etairana buddham sthitam sattve prasidati. You see? So one has to rise above this rajas and tamas. And he says in Kali Yuga, people are dull-headed and restless. And we have to think of their goodness. Now, this is the same situation in which we are put in for preaching. You go to college, people are dull for spiritual life. They say, I am not interested. And they are also very restless for competition. They want to run here and there and make more money, get more marks, crack some competitive exam. How to make those people become interested in spiritual life. They are burning concern. So, I heard from my spiritual master, he was once telling, our temple should be like a magnet, he said. Because the magnet will pull iron filings from wherever they are, isn't it? So when the boys come to voice, even for the weekly program, how they are loved, how they are cared for, how they are paid attention, and how we grow them, that depends on how they will get attracted. So two things are important in that. One is the horizontal and vertical relationships within the inmates of the voice. How they deal with one another will be observed by the boys, the equals and the seniors. If any of you talk ill of another leader in your voice to your upcoming boy, you will lose that boy eventually. Generally, we have a tendency to munch some loose, casual talk about our equals to others. Sometimes we praise our equals also, but little by praising, suddenly some other thing also will come out. Sometimes little criticism also will come out. Because only a pure devotee is free from tendency to criticize, and we are not pure devotees. So we have a tendency to find fault with especially people with whom we are living. Now, all of you will have experience. Devotees belonging to the same voice, they lose respect for one another often. You will see that. Because they closely observe the deficiencies of the other person. They don't have so much respect. Sometimes they may even quarrel also. Or it may not be verbal, it may be a cold war. Sometimes some displeasure, discontent, misunderstanding, these things come. But imagine, for example, if GGD voice comes to Mayapur voice, how the Mayapur voice devotees will receive the GGD voice devotees? They will receive them as if some angels have come. Oh, please come, we are putting this, what do you call it? Scent in the hand, and they will put some, sprinkling some rose-sedded waters, bring them in, give them asana to sit, feed them nice prasad. Correct? When one voice devotees go to another voice, they are very respectful. And how they treat the boys of the same voice? They sniff him. You've seen that? You have experience of this, no? So, see, we all have only 7 or 8 people in our life with whom we interact every day. All of you think for a moment. Is there anyone here who has more than 8 people with whom you interact every day? At least you make one phone call or you talk personally. More than 8 people. Raise your hand. You will not have. You will only have a single digit number of people with whom you have to deal with every single day. If with those people, if you can have a sweet relationship, then you have conquered the whole world. And that's all. With others it is very easy for you, because your interaction with others is very less. So all of you do this homework when you go back. Write down the names of people with whom you frequently interact almost on an everyday basis, and work on improving your relationship with them, and try to make the relationship as spiritual as possible. Make it as spiritual as possible. Then you see your life, it will not be the same. It will be much different. Much different. I'll see that. So this is one thing about the long-term welfare of the visiting boys. When they see that, like Maharaj was telling in the lecture, he was telling, when somebody is coming into the temple, one devotee is offering obeisances, another devotee is returning the obeisances. One devotee is saying, Prabhuji, I am going to give a class now. Please give me a blessing. Another devotee is saying, Prabhuji, you are a great soul. Who am I to give blessing? I am a tiny soul. But I will pray for your pleasure, Prabhuji. And when people see this kind of spiritual exchanges, it completely touches their heart. When they see devotees dancing happily in Harinam Sankirtan. See, today when we started dancing Kirtan, a lot of people who went away, they came back. You saw that? Here, many of you might not have been there. The morning, 12:30, when we started Kirtan, the dancing Kirtan started, many guys were wandering around, they all came back and joined. And people joined because a nice Sankirtan is going on, everyone wants to participate. So a nice spiritual culture can be created by a group of devotees only by sincere cooperation. Otherwise it is not possible. Like Tulasi Aarti, all devotees dance so beautifully around Tulasi. If one wants to dance this way, another one wants to dance that way, they will hit each other, isn't it? They all are dancing exactly the same way, beautifully. So, in our centers, Maharaj says that the relationship between devotees should be such that the outside boy should think, let me also come inside. This is like Vaikuntha. If I come here, then I will also become happy. They should feel like that. Not that, like for example, you go to a temple, and you ask the manager, is there cow in charge over there? The manager is saying, बताओ क्या चाहिए बताओ. नहीं ये पूरे मंदिर का कोई है क्या इधर इंचार्ज? हम हैं ना? ठीक है, आप मैंने सुना कि आप मैनेजर हैं, इधर अध्यक्ष नहीं है कोई. अध्यक्ष को क्या मालूम, वो तो घूमता रहता है पूरा. What does he know? I am the man who is hands-on doing. The manager may say like that, isn't it? And then manager is not there, you go to the president and you ask him, sorry, you seem to be very busy. Is there anybody with whom you can put me in touch? I want to show something. I brought some product or something. And then he will say, I am president, and you are saying you want somebody else. I am the authority. If I don't sign a check, you won't get. So show me. So what do these things show? People are very proud of them having control. This can happen very much in our voice. I am not just joking. This can happen. The PA, PM, PAD, OC and all these people, they have to have a very sweet relationship. In fact, they should be so respectful to one another. The mutual respect, trust and love should be very high. Otherwise, one young new boy will come and say, Prabhuji told that, I can go ahead with this. He told me I don't have to ask you. Oh, he told you don't have to ask me? I am the one who gives permission. How did he give you permission? I will crush him into powder. Then this boy will think, oh, these fellows don't have a good relation. And they'll think like that. They'll get put off. So, this is the first thing I told you. The relationship between the devotees and the boys is so important. Actually, it is not an easy thing. We have to work very hard. We have to give our false ego. We have to become humble. We have to become tolerant. We have to be respectful. And we should be willing to seek forgiveness. And we should be forgiving. All these things are needed if you want proper relationship between devotees. If you all want to maintain our ego balloons, our ego balloon will be there and nobody will become devotee. Only our balloons will be there, that's all. Everyone is trying to prick the other fellow's balloon. Right, I will also prick your balloon. Everyone is trying to prick others' ego balloons. It will be like that. So, for the long-term welfare of the boys who are coming in, we also have to think of, we have to work on the internal customers' relationships. That's what I have been talking till now. And besides that, when people are coming from outside, you see, I went to one center. I saw they had a weekly program. One preacher gave a class, and all the facilitators and front lines, they all ran into the study room and they were studying. Class got over, and the boys were made to sit in a L shape, line, and they are fed prasadam silently, as if they have taken Maunavrata or something. Boys were eating prasad silently. There is no Hare Krishna Kirtan, and there is no personal talk. And they are doing the duty of eating prasad. And the prasad is also served by the cook or somebody like that. Cook is serving prasad. And of course I happened to be there. Then I asked him, where are the facilitators? They want to catch up with their studies. I said, is this the day to catch up with studies? This is the day boys are our guests. They have come here, taking out their time. So facilitator should make a circle. Every facilitator with his own boy should make a circle, everywhere circles, and sit. I have seen in NITK they have this culture. Like, the facilitator and the boys used to sit, and then they would ask the boys, what did you like in the class today? Which point was not very convincing to you? Are you having any doubts? Are you happy coming here? What all you like? What do you don't like? How is your studies? How many rounds are you chanting? Do you want to increase your rounds? Do you want to come and rest here Saturday night and get up Sunday morning? So strike personal relationship. And also we have to think of the studies also. Then only we can consider it long-term welfare. Why? Because if we neglect the studies and pull them too much, then they will go away eventually over a period of time. So we have to think about the internal customers first and then external customers second. This is the method of our taking care of people. So then one more point, Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva knew that the process of sacrifice that is outlined in the Vedas is the correct means for purifying men's occupations. So he divided one Veda into 4. In addition, he compiled historical narrations called Puranas, and these are considered to be the 5th Veda. And it goes on. So here is the third lesson. Help men purify their occupation by offering fruits to Vishnu. Help men purify their occupation by offering fruits to Vishnu. There are two duties of a king in any country, like Ambarish Maharaj or Prithu. His first duty is to deliver his dependents. You cannot claim to be a father or a mother or a guru or a devata unless you can deliver your dependents. What is that verse? Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na patsya na patishya sasyat, na amochayetet samapeta mrityum, which is, if you cannot deliver your dependents, then you don't deserve to be called as guru or anything. So we can also include in that verse, Guru na sasyat, facilitator na sasyat, PM na sasyat, PA na sasyat, you can include. Is it? All this can be included there. So one is, so for delivering the dependents, you have to give them spiritual knowledge regularly. It's very important. Yeah. And give them spiritual knowledge and elevate them, clarify their doubts, and make sure they are going in the right path, properly guide them, and all that. Another duty is to offer satisfying Krishna conscious engagements for them. If you don't give engagements to them, they will go away. I have seen amongst our people, one of the perfect engagers is Balagovind Prabhu. You can ask him about it, how he engages. He doesn't increase the crowd. When he takes a program, congregation program, he takes only 4 or 5 families. He multiplied by 2, husband and wife. So he takes 10 people, they sit in a big circle. He behaves Sundarar Prabhu. You can ask Sundarar Prabhu also. Expert in giving engagements. Like I saw with my own eyes how Balagovind Prabhu does it. Like what he does, class is over now, and then he will ask everyone, please tell me your name, your background, what job are you doing, and he will hear from everyone, and then he will understand their strengths, what are. Like your husband says, my wife is a very good cook, she is best in cooking, or she has done home science, or she has done catering, or whatever. End of the class, he will ask, so Mataji, can you bring, halwa prasad for all the devotees next week? And she will immediately, yes Prabhuji, thank you Prabhuji, I'll bring, and she will say like that. And then he will ask the Prabhuji, you said you are working in the computer company, if these SS articles are available in this link, can you download them and send it to, you generate some emails and you can send it to people. Like that he will give. Each person he gives one service. And then he will say, today's lecture which you recorded, anyone is good in typing, then 2-3 fellows will raise hand. So can you please get it typed and you can email a copy to me? And he will say, and they will take up that. So what happens when you give service to people, the next week you will find all the guys will be there. What for they have come now? To give their service, because you give them service, no? They will come to report to you faithfully. And Metalsi people are very perfect in this. You have seen that? See, one day I just took out my card in the train and I gave it to one wealthy man in the train. I told him, please take my card. Now you can come to a temple, please come. When I should come? He asked me. I said, you can come on Sundays, Saturday, Sundays are nice time to come. On Sunday, what time I should come? He asked. Then I said, 10:30, 12:30 we have program. 10:30, and you'll note down, 10:30 a.m., Prabhuji has called me, And then this fellow promptly came here at the counter and said, can I talk to Mr. Das? He came and asked. And they asked, which Das you want? Everyone is Das here. So, yeah, and I never thought this fellow will land up here. I am coolly, in my program and everything. And then these fellows called me, then I went there, and then he said, sir, you called me, so I have come. See, many of the outside people, they take your invitation very seriously. Similarly, if you give service to new people, they do it very happily, and they are very happy to report also. So, if any of you has a creative mind to generate new services, you are very fortunate. You should be able to generate new services and engage people. Engaging in different occupations, and all the occupations or the engagements that you give them should be offerable to Vishnu. Then it becomes yajna. Ultimately, they benefit, you benefit, project benefits, everyone benefits. Very wonderfully. Yeah. You know, where Sundara Prabhu is cultivating one Mr. Punjabi. He used to come to our temple for 10, 15 years. He has been coming on and off, you know. Nobody would talk to him, you know. He would just come, take darshan and go away. So Sundara Prabhu personally met him and inspired him in his Krishna consciousness. He went to his factory, went to his home once. And then he cultivated. Now he has given 4 or 5 cars to temple, one after another. One Omni he gave, second Omni he gave, third. And he gave money for sponsoring our printing of books also. He's doing a lot of good. He's planning to give a house also, isn't it? He's giving a flat also, no? He's giving one flat in Pune in donation to temple. Because personally he's cultivating. See, when you take interest in some people, they take interest in you also. That's a formula. Otherwise, you know, if you do a rigid stereotype program, you close your eyes, Jaya Radha Madhava, you give the lecture, and after the lecture you run away. And then they will sit in a L-shaped line and they will eat their prasada. And they will go back. You know, they will go back. And you find at the end of the year you have nobody. Is it not true? So, you should put facilitators along with their boys sitting. So, till now we are talking about 2 things. One I told you before is the relationship between the devotees inmates, those who are internal. Whereas here we are talking about giving them engagements. Like I went to Warangal once before, 18 boys were devotees inside, but only 4 of them were going for MMC, 4 or 5 in those days. Then afterwards I told, in those days even Neeru Prabhu and all were there. I told them that I send out everyone, I said. Everyone should go out. Of course, some handful of people can do some internal service. Even they should go occasionally outside. Everyone should go and get a taste of preaching. Very important. And also I said, when you go to hostel, you may be a leader of MMC, but then you should have right hand and left hand always. And then gradually make them leaders. Go on increasing the number of mantra meditation circle groups. There could be 10 groups, 20 groups in the college. Each group having 7 or 8 people. The whole idea is what? By giving engagements, you will make them own Krishna consciousness. They will feel a sense of belonging. Oh, I also have got some seva for Krishna. My talent is not useless. I can use something that Krishna given talent I can use in Krishna service. Each of you think for a moment, you were given some engagement, that's why you are here. Correct, no? Somebody gave you some seva. When seva comes, he will be here. You all know this, no? You know, under the cart, our Jayananda Prabhu was working, isn't it? So he saw somebody passing by. And he would call, Haribol! He would call, isn't it? Can you come here? Can you please hold this nail? And the fellow will hold. And then, tack, he would hit it. How beautifully you are holding. Can you hold one more? And he'll hold one more. And he'll say, this entire line I have to nail it. So you don't mind holding one more nail for me? And the boy would say, yes, no problem. And then he would tell him, so you are holding very nicely, let me see how you hammer it. Would you like to try hammering? Yes, sir. So he would hold the nail and hammer it. And the nail would go inside the rat cart. Say, oh, such a beautiful job you did. Can you nail in the same way, the entire line? And you do the entire line. He would do. And then he would ask him, can you do the same upward, up, down, like sideways you did? The boy would do. In this way, what he had done, Jayananda Prabhu, one board used to put. Here is a place where the Lord of the universe is going to occupy a cart which is being constructed here. You know, I have the good fortune of having the privilege to construct this wonderful cart for the Lord of the universe. Like that, he put a very beautiful decorative sign there. And people would see that and ask, who is the Lord here? Who is the Lord of the universe? That is Jagannath. You tell them, you are making. So many people would volunteer. I also want to do some seva, give me. At any given time, our Jayananda Prabhu had 25 men working with him. Can you imagine? At any given time. Then he didn't have to go and ask, is there anyone who can do seva? So many people working with him. Because good engagers get good number of people. You should be able to engage. If you engage, you will get. Yeah. See, when I came to Pune in 95, Maharaj wrote a letter to me. Use your creative intelligence in generating new services. Like you have written to me, and engage all the devotees, and they will all become advanced very nicely. So I took the clue. Then I started different departments, different activities, and you just catch and put devotees. They'll be very happy. Everyone gets some. See, who is there in this world? You give them a service, they won't feel happy. Huh? Because everyone wants to identify with some service. When Rudra came out of Brahma's Briguti, he cried out. And what did Brahma tell him? He told him, Rudra, don't cry. I will give you your place of residence. Huh? And I will give you a designation. I will give you a name also. I will give you a Rudrani also. Huh? And you stay there and you do a duty, he said. Similarly, all of us are having a loss of identity. Huh? We are wandering this way, we don't know what to do. If somebody can give us an identity and give some seva, that upadhi what we are getting can be eventually purified. Whatever upadhi we accept. That's why we give post and position to people in Pune. Why? Because if you give them a post, empower them and put them in Krishna consciousness, they will do a lot of good things. You see, so many devotees nowadays, even without direct much help they are doing. South India, all know Venkatesh Prabhu. 800 books they are distributed in SRM. Last year also 800, this year also 800. And 200 boys are attending DYS there. Now, how much help are we able to give from Pune? Now, Keshavan Prabhu is going and offering more help there. But why I am telling, if you offer some position, post for Krishna service and give some empowerment, people do a lot of good things. People can do so much good. Many of you are doing very well in your own respective colleges. You are working hard, putting sweat and toil. So you are engaged and you are happy, but you should also offer engagement. So he is saying, help men purify their occupation by offering fruits to Vishnu. That means some people are already doing their own occupation, correct? Somebody like one Kunal Prabhu, he makes flexes. So Sundara Prabhu went to him and said, see, you make flexes for karmis, for materialistic people. Why don't you make a flex of Radha Kunja Bihari? Then he made a huge flex of Radha Kunja Bihari and gave. And he put it here. You saw? And he did it free of cost. Otherwise, how much you will have to pay in case we are paying? Yeah, more than 5,000 you have to spend. So you are engaging his occupation in Krishna service. Similarly, we can engage everybody. Like one marble wala, he gave us 90 lakhs worth marble. I went to his house. We had a kirtan and everything. Yeah, we can engage people's occupation in Krishna service. Similarly, in your voice, if somebody is talented in something, try to use that talent in Krishna service. Last point, fourth one. For the less intelligent classes of human beings, the women laborers, non-descendants of higher orders, Vyasdev compiled the great historical narration, Mahabharata. So the fourth point is, don't ignore the lower classes. They can create trouble, if not good. Don't ignore the lower classes. They can create trouble, if not good. Which means Vedavyas did not ignore the Shudras. We are seeing that. So it's not that only for Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya he has written some literatures, even for the Shudras. Why? They may be less intelligent, but they can do harm, if not good. Nobody should be neglected. Like Prabhupada told you on devotee in ISKCON, there was in Punjab National Bank, I think ISKCON had account. So one of the devotees became angry with the, Punjab National Bank members, saying that what nonsense you have done, you have messed up the balance sheet or something, he said. And that person became so angry. He said, you guys only do the whole thing. He gave it back to ISKCON. And ISKCON had to do a tedious job for weeks together every year before submitting it to Punjab National Bank. Then Prabhupada later on was telling that you see, sometimes somebody may be a materialist, somebody may be foolish, but if you don't respect them, then they will at least be of nuisance value to you, he said. Another time, Prabhupada was coming through a customs duty. So the customs person asked, Swamiji, do you have yellow fever certificate? He asked. And the disciple became upset. He said, what are you asking Swamiji? He is a Jagat Guru, author of the whole world, and you are asking him yellow fever certificate? Do you have any common sense? He asked him. Then immediately the customs people became angry. Hey, you are not respecting us? They said, take this Swamiji to the quarantine, they said. So he was put in the quarantine for almost 2 full days. Prabhupada said, just see, because of your foolishness you are wasting my 2 days. I have come to the city to preach, but they put me in the quarantine. Quarantine is a place where you have to just stay for some time. So they put Prabhupada there for 2 days. So Prabhupada said, materialistic people, if you are not respecting them, they may sometimes cause inconvenience to us. They can cause trouble. So they should not be ignored. Similarly, in our preaching, we get many boys. Sometimes we have a tendency to highlight the prominent boys. We say, oh, this Prabhuji distributed 80 books, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And there are boys who are very weak. They have distributed 2 books or they haven't distributed any. And we may tend to ignore them. But those guys will remember in their heart. So they are always glorifying the bigger fellows. All the elephants are being glorified and we are like mouses. We are being ignored. So because we are being ignored, at least we can bite somebody and create some trouble. Yeah, they can create trouble. You see, we sometimes tend to over glorify the outstanding performers. Others get neglected. One day, I saw Raghunath Maharaj, in one program he was sitting in a seat, asan, and big leaders were called. Maharaj garlanded them, he gave them prizes, shook hands or whatever, Hare Krishna he told them, and appreciated them, patted on the back and all on the stage. And Hari Bol, so many Hari Bols are going on. I don't know what was the occasion, some occasion. And then as soon as the program was over, all those guys who received prizes and garland from Maharaj, they were all in the front row, about 40, 50 of them. They were thinking when Maharaj comes, we will say something to Maharaj about what I did, and then Maharaj may give a gentle embrace, and he may put his hand on my head or whatever, They were all waiting. But I also happened to be on the stage with Maharaj, and Maharaj garlanded from the stage, and immediately, zoom, he went away to the kitchen. Then I also went behind with Maharaj, and he went to the kitchen, and there he asked, so who all cooked this prasad today? And all of them were, many of them were wearing this, apron and everything with oily hands. They were offering obeisances to Maharaj. Maharaj, just come, everyone. And about 4 or 5 of them, and Maharaj said, I am very thankful to all of you, Maharaj told them, who is the head cook? He asked. One Prabhuji inside, he came out. Maharaj told, what all your items you made today? Show me. How long you all worked? He asked. They were particularly working for 8 hours, 6-8 hours. And they told, what is the special item today amongst all the items? He asked. And then they said, this is the item, Maharaj. Maharaj, give me a little bit. Took a little taste. And then after all that, then Maharaj came out. Of course, I used to always roam behind Maharaj and ask some questions to Maharaj. So this time when I got a chance, I asked Maharaj, all those guys were waiting to meet you below the stage, but you left them behind and you have come here to kitchen, and you always appreciate, Maharaj, the people, who do this kind of menial service. So then I asked him, why, Maharaj, you just ignored those people and came? And Maharaj said, you see, those guys, they got enough respect on the stage. They got enough applause on the stage. And they got enough garland and gifts and everything. And those guys are limelight guys. And even, occasionally you give one small gift to them, that's good enough, because they get so much glorification. They get too much glorification they get. He said, from the subordinates, from equals, from superiors, many people they get. But he said, these guys, they are hardly noticed. They are always in the background. They are cooking, cleaning, washing. They are never brought to the stage and highlighted. So Maharaj was telling, we should always not forget the minority class. We should try to offer them appreciation and encouragement. He was telling. The Maharaj very attentive to that. You all must have seen how Maharaj appreciated this Kuladri Mataji, Kulangana Mataji for the fine details in the Sandesh she made when making in London. Maharaj said, he gives Sandesh and everybody, they put in the mouth immediately. Nobody sees the details. So even Krishna, Kunjavari is not going to ask, hey, why did you offer me Sandesh without any details? Will you ask like that? But she is making very nice, fine drawings and all in a Sandesh, simply out of love. Because paying attention to detail is a sign of love. So, Maharaj was appreciating that in a public forum where there were 5,000 devotees, you see. In the same manner, as leaders, we also have to gradually learn the art. I have to learn the art very much. I am very poor at it. Because we tend to appreciate the outstanding performers the most. Just now I appreciated Venkatesh Prabhu, isn't it? Who distributed 800 books. Because it's very natural. Prabhupada also used to appreciate the outstanding performers. Prabhupada went to LA temple and then he called San Francisco through phone and said, you see, LA people are distributing 80 Krishna books in a day. So I am forced to stay here. They have captured me because they are distributing so many books. And San Francisco people said, Prabhupada will get back to you tomorrow. They started distributing 120 books per day. And Prabhupada told the LA people, see, they are distributing 120, I am forced to go there now. Then he went there. So Prabhupada would motivate them, inspire them to distribute more and more. He would do like that. At the same time, while inspiring and encouraging the leaders, we should not ignore the background people, people doing menial services. We should respect them, appreciate them, honor them, value them, give them some gifts also. That is very important. That's why here Vedavyas we find, he wrote this Mahabharata for the women and laborers and the fallen descendants of higher orders, means Brahma Bandhu, Dvija Bandhu, for all of them. He did this. Because if they are not kept peaceful, they will come out with grievances, which is great trouble. So I have finished my talk exactly, 3-4 minutes late. I hope the message was clear to everyone. Actually, Bhagavatam, you can learn so many things. Personally, I learned many things in my life from Bhagavatam. I can take questions if you are not getting late. Is there any program here? 5 o'clock? No. Yoga is there. Those who are in yoga, you should go now. Because you have to go for the yoga class, you can go. Otherwise, if anybody want to ask question, I can be here for 10 minutes and I can take questions. And those who are going for yoga should go for yoga. Yeah. Which is the question? Oh, actually I only take some sections and speak. Answers come subsequently for these questions. Anyway, you know why Parikshit, that will come later on. The questions asked by Shaunaka Rishi. Prabhupada says the questions of Parikshit and questions of Shaunaka Rishi are so sweet. You can have one full class on question only. They are so wonderful. Even they are asked with so much intelligence. You can take the mic.
We try to inspire some devotees in their Krishna consciousness, and we try to highlight the importance of some things in their own spiritual life, like the sadhana part or chanting. But they may not be able to receive it properly, or they may think that it's like forcing. So then, in that condition, what should be our role?
You can give me an example of which one they may feel that we are forcing. You can give an example.
Suppose it's like about reading. So we have 3.5 hours of quota reading Prabhupada books, and then we understand that it's very important, because if we are not reading ourselves, then we cannot preach properly. So, but someone is taking more interest in preaching rather than reading oneself.
Yeah.
So how I should?
Actually, if somebody is preaching more and reading less, they can't give quality association to the people to whom they are preaching. Then it will be like now I am speaking to all of you because I have read this section before and I have been thinking about it. Otherwise, I will be just bluffing and I won't be able to give anything valuable. Is it not true? We have to study first. We have to study and think. So, if you find any boys under you, they are not eager for reading, the best way is to create a peer group. Catch one very good reader and catch one, lazy fellow. Two people can be put together and tell them that you both read together in a week. Like you make a kind of some people have a policy that night before going to bed they read half an hour. That's a very good policy. And then they go to bed. So every day half an hour it becomes 3.5 hours. So you can find out who is a very disciplined reader and you can put him in touch with this boy. Or you can ask this boy who is your good friend, find out. So both of you read together and go to bed before going to bed. Because some people have a tendency, chronic habit of not reading. Yeah, it's a very bad habit. For email downloading they have a lot of time. hours and hours and hours downloading. But when it comes to reading Prabhupada books, they won't read. And also another thing is to create a culture of giving a reading slot time. Like 1 or 2 hours in a week you give time for reading Prabhupada books. Just like they read the college textbooks. Similarly, you give 1 or 2 hours in a week to devotees. Go to the reading room. All the devotees will take some Prabhupada book and they will read together. That will all go together. Like our Radha Prabhu and Saraswati Prabhu, they do it for the ICFC, not only ICFC, PBS also. They come 1 hour before the Brahmachari class and they read 1 hour and then they attend the Brahmachari class every day. That way 6 days they complete 6 hours reading. That kind of culture you can create in our voice. So then it will be a habit for them. Yeah?
Thank you, Bro, for the wonderful class. Actually, you were mentioning about the engaging of devotees in services and also about encouragement. So, I had a question like, there are, when we get boys or when we also have devotees, they have different kind of propensities. Somebody may have Brahminical propensity, somebody may have Kshatriya propensity, Vaishya and Shudra propensity respectively. So, can you please enlighten in the terms of what kind of encouragement and what kind of services engagement would each of these propensities would be attracted to?
Yeah. Actually, those who are in either Brahminical or mixture of Brahman Kshatriya tendencies they have. Like Raja Rishi means he is a king but guided by Brahminical intelligence. They are called the leaders. Like all of you, you will have some administrative skill, surely. Otherwise you cannot be a leader. But your administrative skill is conducted by Brahminical intelligence. That's a first class combination for a leader. So these are the people who will be always very outgoing. They love to go distribute books. They love to meet people. They love to preach and expand. They would like to do that kind of people. And so generally I had categorized as 3 types of people. One is the people who are like self-starters and self-motivated. Self-starter and self-motivated. You just give one trigger, they will run. They will do a lot of things. And they don't need too much guidance also. They just go on and on as if they are getting fuel from inside. Their inspiration Krishna is giving. So these are the type of people who are looking for, like all this group of people, they are like that. They are very hardworking and you don't need much push on their own. They are creative, they think, they work hard, like that. And the next is category is Jo Bola So Karo, we say, no? Whatever you tell them, they will do. That is one category. You give them a service, they will do, they will complete it and keep quiet until you tell them the next service. And then we have a third category, who may mostly take care of themselves. They may not do much at all. They may just exist, that's all. So now, it may be, like when we are living in a center together, say if you have 20 devotees, for example, very outstanding devotees maybe 3-4, maybe there. One may be a leader and other 3-4 may be very outstanding. Maybe another 5-6 may be, people who are also like, inspired devotees. So in a group of 20 devotees, you may have 8-10 devotees very inspired to go out and preach. But other people need a little push. You see that. The first 10 devotees, they happily go. The next 10 devotees, if they don't like to go out, then they could be given services. For example, engagements means, cooking, cleaning, washing pots, and also grocery getting from the market and everything. And also, see, there are some services required for sustenance of the center. Sustenance of the center. Like kitchen department requires a lot of input. Somebody has to bring vegetables, grocery, the market, gas cylinder. So there is a kitchen department there. Now, we may say, is it preaching? We are just getting items for cooking and eating and we are taking care of ourselves. So it's only sustenance. It cannot be counted so much in preaching. There is little preaching from kitchen department because we make prasad and distribute. That's the only thing. Apart from our eating, we may distribute on program day. But we can think of activities like outdoor activities, like going and doing a program in the hostel and cultivating boys. That is very good because we bring serious fellows. If you cannot do that, then Harinam Sankirtan, then book distribution. These were very powerful in Prabhupada's times. Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution is very famous. And the beauty of this engagement is nobody needs any talent. You don't have to worry. If you are Shudra or Kshatriya, you don't have to worry. You just give a book back, send a couple of devotees with the Harinam Sankirtan, go to the station, do Harinam, they distribute books and they come back. Anybody can do. And the beauty of the service is if nobody is there, then the service also can be stopped on that day. It's a free flow service. It can be given also. Yeah. Other services, we can collect some funds from somebody, cook some bhoga and offer it to Krishna, and we can go and distribute some prasadam in some gully or somewhere on a regular basis. Like some people do in India, some grihasthas, they cook prasadam for about, say they make some leaf cups, 200, 300 leaf cups they make, and they go to some central prominent place in the city, and they take a van or something, they prominently put the board ISKCON Food Relief Foundation or something like that, because the whole idea is people see that ISKCON is doing some good work, it brings goodwill to ISKCON. So they put a book table, they put some Prabhupada dhun, and they keep some leaf cups of prasadam, and then when you are distributing books, rich people, poor people, all people come and take little prasadam and they go. So 300-400 cups they distribute. Once in a week some grihasthas are doing. Right outside their house they do. Many people in India, abroad also they do like that. So these are some things that we can engage ourselves. Of course, if we want to, if you have more manpower and everything, we have so many ideas. Only thing is we don't have enough resource. Like we want to go to music troupe and meet the people and tell them, can you come and with your whole troupe and perform in our temple, Hare Krishna tune. You can tell them, bring them, try to make some of the music troupe people into devotees. And we also have been thinking, there are many Vitthal temples, Ram, Sitaram, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan. One or two boys can be sent. Go to all these temples, find out who are the owners, get their phone number, and also who are the pujaris, see who is favorable, and go to some 100 temples and get the data. And then we will invite all of them to temple on a Monday here, They can be called at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock for lunch. They come and take prasadam here. After lunch we will tell them we are starting a pujari voice. We want to start, So we will tell them that every Monday 1 o'clock lunch prasad and 2 to 4 training program for pujaris. 2 to 3 will be EPG class and 3 to 4 will be pujari training, how to dress the deity, how to worship the deity, how to do achaman, all the things very meticulously our deity department will teach. So both theory and practical, 2 to 4 we are planning to have. And at 4 o'clock they have to take up because they have to go back to the respective temples and worship. Now the advantage of this is what? If these pujaris, even out of 100 of them, 50 of them become favorable and start chanting, all the temples can become extension centers of ISKCON. Once that fellow starts 16 rounds, can you imagine? He can also have a book table there, then he can have malas there, and he will not only do puja, he will teach chanting to people who are coming there, and we can send our devotees to preach there, and slowly it will become like another voice center there, Is that true? So this idea I told how many years ago, Singapore, this I announced how many years ago? 6-7 years ago I announced it. And every year in different occasions I have been telling about Pujari voice. It is still a dream now. Let us see who will fulfill this dream. I have been telling in Brahmacharya class again and again about this idea, because many pujaris are not properly worshipping, Yeah, isn't it? Many pujaris, they don't know. And I have met personally 3-4 pujaris who are willing to come for such a training program, We have a lot of ideas to do. We can do so much. Another idea, some boys can go, now our director of VIT, who is it? Rasa Vigraha Prabhu. So we can take his help, and through him we can take letters to all the colleges in Pune and request them to put complete Prabhupada books. I sent Premnidhi Prabhu in those days. Premnidhi Prabhu successfully did in 2-3 colleges. Now Sundara Prabhu has done it in many schools. We can put complete set of Prabhupada books in about 15,000-20,000 rupees worth of books. they can put in the library, you know. We did it in CYET college, we have put it already, when Dr. Kulkarni was there, we put it there. So somebody can go, you know, nicely talk on phone, meet him, shake hands, please take prasad, we are coming from ISKCON, his books are very good for, and we write a nice letter, you know, personality development, character build up and all these things, and you can put it in the colleges, you know, it's called as, you know, university library book party. Some devotees can do that. So many ideas, you know. Actually, we have ideas on many, only we need more people. But engaging is not very difficult, engaging devotees. We can engage them. Some engagements are easy, some are more talent demanding. Like our device preaching surely demands talent. Because after device, you need facilitator to take care and all that. Self-defined devotee requires a lot of talent. But book distribution and prasadam distribution, anybody can do. It's very easy. Yes, Ndarku? He has one more idea now.
Just remember one statement, very similar statement. There's one Chinese proverb which says, "You tell me, I'll forget it.
If
You show me, I might remember. But if you involve me, I'll understand it."
Acha, amazing. You tell again?
You show me,
You-
you tell me,
I'll forget it.
I'll forget it.
Yeah.
You show me, I might remember. But if you involve me, I'll understand it.
Correct.
It's
Very
about
true.
something very similar about teachers. It says, a mediocre teacher is one who tells. Good teacher is one who explains. But the best teacher is one who inspires to do what he wants them to do.
Very true. You see, brilliant point it is. So by engaging the devotees, they can get inspired. We should not maintain a center where we have 15-20 devotees not doing much. They just get up in the morning, they chant and dance, and they take their prasadam and go and come back and sleep, and not do much. We have to create a missionary spirit. Everyone should think, what am I doing for Prabhupada? We should write a diary in the night. Today, what did I do for Prabhupada? Every member should be encouraged to maintain a diary. Today I distributed 2 books for Prabhupada. Today I spoke to a group of devotees on this topic. Today I studied this. And what am I doing? Everyone should think. Especially in our temple, we are now categorizing as indoor services, outgoing services we are making. Indoor means like cooking prasadam for ourselves only, our own belly, isn't it? Cleaning of the prasadam hall, ashram, inside the temple, it's all for maintenance of the temple only. It's all coming under sustenance. And maintenance of cars, maintenance of vehicles, okay, they have to be kept in order. These are all coming in indoor only. Doing Harinam Sankirtan in the temple hall, in the evening for the pleasure of the deities, we are doing that. Okay. So these are all indoor only. And keeping brahmachari classes, Bhagavatam class in the morning program, everything is indoor. And can you say some outgoing services? Saraswam Prabhu will tell us. What are all outgoing services, Saraswam Prabhu? Give him the mic. He is our ICFC leader. Yeah, sometimes in companies. Yeah, book distribution. Yeah, he sends devotees out, ICFC devotees for Harinam Sankirtan, yeah. Cultivating donors by going to their company or going to their house and doing kirtan and regularly maintaining relationship with them. Or even if donor comes inside the campus, taking him for Balaji Puja, taking him to NVCC, that is also outdoor. Although it may be happening indoor, but the activity is outdoor. It's called the outgoing activity. Why? Because we are doing something for the welfare of other people. It is not for ourselves. Like eating prasad, is it outgoing or ingoing? You understand? So apart from our ingoing thing, we should do some outgoing also. That's what he's saying. We should live for the welfare of others. Isn't it? Like sometimes in a voice, you see there are 32 departments, they say. What are the 32 departments? It is, yeah. They're cleaning the temple hall, setting up the altar in the morning, and then putting items in the notice board. They will say, photography, photography, getting sabji, newsletter, yeah, and then study department head, neighbor care. Neighbor care is outgoing, yeah. So they put that out of 30 departments, you find 30 departments are ingoing only in many times. So outgoing is what? Like the front lines are going out, the MMC leaders are going out, book distribution they are going out to meet people. Then they are doing Sankalp, Spurti, follow up, Utkarsh. It's all outgoing services. Doing something for other people. Going outgoing. So we should keep a balance. We should do sufficient outgoing services also. Otherwise, everything comes in internal management more. Yeah, that's how a society will expand very nicely. Otherwise, nowadays all over the world they call base. They call it nowadays. Most places base means their understanding is you have one cook who cooks prasadam for you, and all the working people they stay together and they eat prasad. And any time of the day they chant and complete their 16 rounds. Morning or afternoon or evening, they complete their round somehow. And they eat prasad and devotees stay together. This is called as base, many places when you travel. And they don't have any connection with the temple also. Like I went to one temple north, they were telling me, the Prabhuji devotees and the base devotees don't come at all, they are in their own world. And they don't have any outgoing services. Everything is ingoing only. They take care of themselves only. They were saying, very unfortunate. Prabhupada didn't want that. Prabhupada wanted outgoing. Devotees doing outgoing services. Our establishment should not swallow all our energy and time and money. The establishment is there for preaching purpose. Preaching and reaching out. So older devotees should not become complacent devotees, just eat, sleep, read and live your life. No, we should do something. In Pune temple we have a policy. We send these ICFC devotees, go to Kumbh Mela, have the experience of Kumbh Mela for 1 month and come. Then we had this, Arabade temple construction. Our Vamandev Prabhu and others, about 40 devotees were sent. How many days they stayed there? 3 months. 2 or 3 months they stayed in Arabade and helping in the construction of the last part of the festival of Arabade. They were there. Dindi Yatra, we sent all the ICFC devotees, chant and dance. They walk practically many miles a day up to Pandharpur and then they come back. We send them out like that. So these are all outgoing services. Every evening you will find our ICFC Harinam Sankirtan goes out. Similarly, we have different levels of devotees like senior brahmacharis, like myself and others. We all go out three mornings in a week to voices. We are supposed to have 10 3-hour engagements every week. 10 3-hour engagements. Of course, some of us are having 12 or 14 also. 3-hour engagements. Like this is a 3-hour engagement. What I am doing now. Like this, I should have how many in a week? 10 such engagements, minimum. You can take more beyond that. So, actually, in Christian circles in America, if you want to be calling yourself as a pastor or a mentor in America, they have a rule. Every week you have to give some 50 sound hours they have. 40 sound hours or 50 sound hours they call it, which means you have to speak the glories of God for 50 hours in a week. Per day it comes to how much? Approximately 7 hours, yeah. Approximately 7 hours it comes, yeah. 7 hours means, say 2 programs, one in the morning, one in the evening, plus some book distribution, something like that during the day. Yeah, and, they are very active. Jehovah Witnesses and other fellows, yeah. So all of you, if you all understand these things, you can engage people nicely and try to, Prabhupada will be very pleased the more we engage people nicely. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Thank you very much. When is the next meeting I told you?